When the kids are counting sheep, when the kids go to sleep, dreams and memories. When the kids go to sleep, when the kids go to sleep.
Sleepy time. And we've actually recently changed it to when the kids go to school. Because we're not going to lie. This is during the day. It's not at
nobody's
night.
going to sleep.
We don't
I wouldn't mind going back to sleep.
Right? Our kids always wonder why Monday afternoon at 11 we like force them to go to bed. Because like the podcast has to be real.
We have to be real.
They have to be really asleep.
Yeah, they're really asleep.
We drug them.
They don't go to school on Mondays. They're
school.
still in bed.
No school on Mondays sounds nice. Mondays is a good day to get away.
Dude, we should do Music Mondays.
I do.
I know you do. That's why I said it. Well, that segues nicely into our first guest and our only guest today here on WTKGTS.
Our
When the
best
kids go to sleep. I don't know if we nailed it that time. The first time was better with Sarah.
I think I nailed it. I don't know if you nailed it.
Definitely did not nail it this time.
Thanks, Rob. I was intimidated. We have a musician in the studio, so I'm just like, oh, he's going to like be judging me.
No, wait just a minute. Wait just a minute. We have two musicians in the studio.
Oh, right.
No, we have three musicians in the studio because you and I officially played in a band together once when you played bass.
That is true.
And I played guitar or something, and Dante played drums, and we played a Weezer song.
I should tell that story because
I just did.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all that happened.
Peter is responsible for getting me to have that feeling of like, have you ever, you've seen a concert, right? You've been to concerts and you just thought, how cool would it be up there to be like, just like doing whatever they're doing with those things that they have, you know? I don't know.
Things.
But like be able to do it and understand what's going on and like feel it and sound like with it.
And you did it.
I did that with
totally
Peter.
did it. There was this magical moment where I looked up and I saw it on Shay's face. He was just totally lost in the music.
It's happening.
And he called me.
Yes. He called you like in the middle of it, in the middle of the second bridge.
I played music.
This is amazing.
But it's great, and that's one of my favorite feelings to share with people, especially people that don't play a lot of music. And I think it's what drew me to making YouTube videos so much, is being able to share that feeling with people
And be able and people will be able to see that.
Music is great.
It is. It's so it is because okay. So Peter had this. Let me tell this story in more detail because it was one of the greatest musical nights of my life. Okay. He had this. You used to be an apartment, right? I
did used to live at the studio.
The story of YouTube, you know how it's developed is Peter lived there, and it was like there was no bedroom. It was like basically a music.
I lived in a closet.
Or there was no
shower and there was no kitchen. We built it. We built a shower eventually, but for a while we were going to the gym and the friend's house. But me and Dante had this opportunity to move into a recording studio, and it was like, well, I've had a kitchen my whole life. I've never had a recording studio,
right?
So I decided to go for it, and it was a good thing.
Kitchen greater than or recording studio greater than.
Yeah.
Kitchen.
Well, yeah, but it allowed us to be able to make music at all hours of the day.
It was. Yeah, and that's where when I came in, it's like this little room, and you shut that door, and we were just jamming. This is like midnight or whatever, and we're just wailing. And so he shows me, he gets my chubby little fingers, because this is when I was a heftier man. Sure. And he gave me the double extra large bass to slap it to the bass. And he's like, okay, here, and just like, it's like a little pattern. So I'm like, whatever it was. And then Dante starts
come in on the drum,
and then Peter's like, but today, and then starts singing. I'm like, holy crap, like it's happening. Like I'm
it's happening.
I'm doing this thing, and then they just filled in with me. Like filled in the music, and I was like, I'm a part of something that's bigger than me. Yes. And it was like I was transcended into Beethoven's apartment.
You were in a band.
Yes.
That's to make it a sentence. You played in a band, and you were playing the best spot in the lot bass.
When are we gonna get the band back together? Is my question.
Well, the band is always together. It's just when are we gonna have a practice?
When are we gonna play?
The band is always connected. That
was the best spot in the lot?
It was the best spot in the lot bass. Well, it's the bass that we used. We found this like $85 bass because we didn't have any resources.
Money.
We didn't have any money.
We have no money.
For lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
So we had to work with what we could. And Dante had a little studio out in his garage. And I found this bass and we set up a piano and we made a music video out in his driveway.
I remember because that was just a thing that I would do in the vlogs, like just with the kids. It was like, oh, best spot in the lot. Yeah. And it rhymed and it was fun and easy to say. And then it kind of caught on in the vlogs. And I don't know how it happened, but I was like, oh, we should make a song out of this.
Yeah. Because I think you called me up and said, hey, can you make a song out of Best Spot in the Lot? And I was like, yeah, okay.
Because I remember you called me, you're like, give me a few more, like, what are some, like, things that happen? And it was like, like, you get extra change, and then you came up with the one with, like, in the bag, and, like, all those little scenarios where it's, like, little moments in life where it's like, yeah, that's a cool little victory for me. Like, that makes your day better. Like, it's no big deal. You got the spot right in front of the door. It's like, why not celebrate those little things?
I use the example of finding ketchup in Wendy's bag. Because you'd, like, get French fries.
Always forget.
But sometimes they don't, and you don't even ask. Someone was like, I bet this guy's gonna want ketchup
with his fries. You got to be grateful for those little moments where people do what they're supposed to.
And
fast food employees.
And or do something that is thoughtful. Like when someone who doesn't have to be thoughtful is thoughtful.
And it's like, oh, they went the extra step.
Yeah.
That means
it
something.
gives you hope for humanity sometimes.
Exactly. So yeah, check that video. That was a great song. Best spot in the lot. And I've told Dante I should pull this video up. The part where he says, dang it, proud off my chest. He does it in the video where he like has just the right timing. For some reason, that part of the video is my favorite part of the entire video.
It's a little
like the way he does it. Off my chest. And the way he nailed like the timing, and it was
great. We did that. We filmed that live at this bar down in Marina Del Rey, not too far.
Cool.
Yeah, and we went there and we just invited some fans and said, hey, we're going to shoot this music video. We're going to play this same song on stage like 8 times. Can you just dance around? It was great. We got in a lot of trouble with the bar, though.
Oh,
playing
really?
it over and over and over.
The same song every time. They're like,
okay, what is this parking lot song? I mean, we hired you to come play at our bar. I think the people, but it's just about Dante. He's like this. He's this quiet, skinny kid. But the way that he does it has like this swagger to it.
He's got a rock and roll king inside of him.
He does.
He's the sweetest young man, but he is a raging rock and roll machine on the inside. He played drums on a lot of those. On Shay Carl and the Shaytards, that song.
Did he?
Yeah, that was him on drums. He's just off camera.
I remember.
But he's there.
I remember the night, literally the night you sent me that song. Shay Carl and the Shaytards.
I do too. That was the night that my life changed forever.
See, because I didn't like with the best spot in the lot. Like I called him. I'm like, hey, you should make a song about this. And probably because you sent me this Shay Carl, I'm like, this kid could make some music.
Well, I've always I've been writing songs for a long time, and I've been writing songs about stuff that means something to me. And this was a chance for me. Like I met you, and it meant something to me. And I knew, I was just starting to understand everything. I didn't quite understand how many people are out there on YouTube. And I especially didn't understand that the people were real. I'd see a screen name and didn't really attach it to a real person. And I never really realized that people are watching in, real time. Mm-hmm. And then I sent you that song, and you put it on the Shaytards vlog. And then all of a sudden, all these subscriptions started coming into my YouTube channel. And I realized that there were all these real people who cared about the same thing I did. I was like, oh, they're all real. Yeah. And I got my first comment on a video. And my mind just exploded. I was like, they're really there. And there's someone actually sitting on the other end. And this is like playing a performance, except it's through a computer and everybody's in their different place. I don't know. It changed my life forever.
It totally does.
It really did.
And that's why it's great, to go on these, playlists live and you were recently on Digitour where you can meet these people where you see their faces. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're the person that is watching.
You're Scooter 1449.
Scooter, where you been? 144.
No, it was a big difference, and that song was like the real catalyst to that. To me, understanding that YouTube is a place.
Yeah.
It was an amazing song.
We were in the basement in our house in Idaho, and I was just down there doing my internet thing. You know how you're cruising around on the internets, and I got an email from Peter, and it was at night. I remember we were all downstairs watching TV.
That seems so long ago.
Right?
Wow, that was 10 years ago.
But it doesn't seem that long ago at the same time. Whoa, trippy, weird. Anyways, so I'm like, I remember listening to it. I'm like, nice. I'm like, because you had just done Mousetrap for the station. Because I remember who's going to do the song? And I remember talking to Ben Donovan. He's like, oh, we got this new guy. His name's NICEPETERTARD. He's going to do the music for it. I'm like, is he any good? And he's like, yeah, I think he's going to do it. So then Mousetrap came out, and I'm like, that song sounded amazing. Yeah. And then I didn't even, the Shay Carl and the Shaytards song, you just sent to me. Well, we didn't even talk about it or anything. You.
I mean, they took us to Las Vegas, and we went to that thing. Right. Mm-hmm. And Danny here at Maker was like, "Hey, Peter, you should come to Vegas." And I just drove the van. I was just the van driver. I didn't do anything. I wasn't there as a musician. Tim, you were there.
Right.
I was there to drive the van. And I happened to throw on this pair of yellow and green sunglasses to protect my eyes from the sun while I was driving the van. And then after that day, I became known as that dude who was making jokes and had the yellow and green sunglasses. Yeah. And then I met you, and I remember I met you in an elevator. And you hugged me with this giant man of a hug, and I was just surrounded by love and warmth.
Flubber.
No, it wasn't that
kind of flubber. It's basically like adipose tissue just engulfed his body.
But you have the same love and warmth exuding from you, and I was just bowled over by the experience. And then that's when I started watching Shaytards videos, and it was seeing the comments on your videos and being like, wow, this man and his family means so much to so many people, and I got to meet him, and I get it. I understand this. And I drove up to Dante's house. He used to live 30 miles north. And on the drive, I wrote this little song.
No
I
way.
Sit down.
No way.
Am I confused?
We've actually never talked about that.
No,
really.
it was a really big week for me.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, you sent me this song and I loved it and I was like, this is awesome. I remember telling Coletta, like, come listen to this song. And she's like, who made that?
Crying about
and I was like, oh, this guy, blah, blah. So yeah, we put it in the vlogs. So then, long story short, then you make, Superman socks with Cassim, street music. Yeah. And then the world finds out who Nice Peter is because he makes a little series called Epic Rap Battles of History.
Yeah.
The first one of those we made really didn't take off as much as the later ones did. We did John Lennon versus Bill O'Reilly. And what I like about that story is that suggestion came from the audience, like 100%.
Oh, really?
It was a continuation of that same conversation that I started around the Shay and the Shaytard song of like just talking to them and realizing that they're there and have feelings and have thoughts and we can connect on things. That I had this idea with Lloyd for doing a rap between two famous people. And I asked the audience, I was like, who should we do? And we saw John Lennon versus Bill O'Reilly. And I was like, oh, that would be cool.
Yeah. Right. You started thinking, you're like, what would they fight about?
Exactly.
You know
so
what I mean?
that set the tone for the whole series of like, it's any two people from history that would, if they met each other at a party in transdimensional space, they'd have something to argue about.
Don't worry about how it's possible. It's just possible, okay? They're rap battling. I'll just watch it.
And I had this, like, Lloyd had the idea to kind of get two people, and then I had this kind of dream of just like this Mortal Kombat kind of trans-dimensional universe
in this world. So here's what's so cool to me, like seeing. I mean, how many total views is Epic Rap Battle like responsible for now? Is it 1 billion yet?
It's not quite 1 billion, but it's getting there.
Close to
it's at like
so crazy.
It's a lot. It's a lot of
1 billion views. So here's like my little claim to fame. Like I remember when me and Cassim and Cecily and Dave McCary were going down to Venice Beach to do something. I think it was like to scout out a shoot for Cassim or something. And you asked, you're like, I need this New York shirt. You remember this?
Yeah.
You were asking me to find for
Yeah,
Paul.
oh, that's right, because we were going to put John Lennon in the New York City t-shirt.
Right.
Because there's a look for John Lennon, has long hair, the glasses, New York City t-shirt, but we couldn't find it.
Yeah, because I remember I was down to Venice because I was like wanted to find that shirt for you. Because he's like, well, you're going to Venice, they have these crazy t-shirt shops down there.
It's weird they don't have a New York City t-shirt on Venice Beach.
Trust me, I looked, Peter. See, now Sergeant, it probably would have caught on a lot better. See, what if Epic Rap Battles wouldn't have ever amounted to anything if you would have had that New York shirt?
I think
it's
that
the
is
Sergeant Pepper outfit.
I think you're right. I think it's true because
you owe me everything.
You gave it that big colorful burst. If it had been like
it's bland, Heather Gray, who's gonna watch that?
Nobody.
Come on. Well, crap.
I'm like, wait.
And what else is funny is I remember you painting. Remember that window? We had a green screen when you climbed through that window. Yes. I remember watching. I'm like, what are they doing? Like
we were taping up cloth to a green. Because again, I think we made that video for like $75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once again, we started with absolutely no money.
But we also we were lucky enough to be with the right people. Right. Dave McCary worked
genius.
Yeah, he's a super genius.
I remember that night editing. You were editing that video, sitting there with Dave, and you're like, okay, so when they spin around, this is Darth Vader versus Hitler.
That was the one.
And you're like, when they spin around, I want him to switch. And you were explaining that whole thing. I remember sitting there watching that happen during the edit of this video. How many views does that have on it now?
A lot.
Like 50 million? What is it? 50 million?
Yeah.
50 million views. I was sitting there as that video was being edited, and Peter was explaining to the editor, Dave McCary, okay, so when he switches over, I want him to go to Carbonite. And I was like, whoa. Well, and I just watched you come up with that. I watched that video happen.
It was really exciting because this is the first opportunity. I can see these things in my head and watch these kind of videos in my head, but I'd never had anyone to help me bring them to life. Yeah,
you can tell. You're like, here's what I imagine. He picks up
Adolf Hitler and swings around, and he goes from black and white world into color world, and they kind of through.
You're like, do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Totally.
I got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time with the right idea, and the thing about it is I recognize every day that I was fortunate, and there's a lot of people who have good ideas who aren't able to bring them. So I know that I have a responsibility to keep doing it, and I also have a responsibility to stay grounded about it and not be like, I'm the greatest thing. I was in the right place at the right time with the right idea, and we're gonna keep working on it.
Yeah, you were in the right place at the right time, bull crap. I mean, you're super talented too.
But all right.
Sure.
So I was the right person in the right
to be there at the right
with the right set of experience.
Exactly. Because that's what it is. That's what success is, when preparation meets opportunity.
It took 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's something
People don't realize that. You're like, you just do these raps, you're lucky.
Well,
it's so easy.
First of all, I am lucky, but it's like if you plug away at something that you believe in for a long enough time, then you're gonna get lucky eventually. You just have to. I mean, if you just keep trying, and you never think I never knew I was gonna write raps.
I love the tweet that you tweeted, and you were like, after 10 years or something, I became a rapper.
Yeah,
you know.
But it was also that enough experience to be like, I'm not gonna think that I knew what I was gonna do.
Right.
I don't know everything already. I'm gonna figure it out. This opportunity presented itself. I was like, all right, I'm gonna dress up like Michael Jackson. Let's do this.
Like you just roll with what comes.
And that's what I found out, honestly, in life is like, sometimes you can't even imagine like the great things that will happen to you if you just kind of keep following this path of like, working on what you love, because in order to make these things, there's a lot of experience that you've gained just being able to like, improvise on stage. Peter has played on every single bar on the East Coast. He has smoked 800 packs of cigarettes through secondhand smoke through bars that he's playing on the road. He's lived in his car for years playing these bars. So just being able to like talk and to go back with hecklers and to be able to fight with them and to come up with those things.
It's really important.
Like
and
that.
To have to do it like myself and have to make posters and make videos on my own taught me like the basic skills I needed to make YouTube videos. So it was all very helpful. I'm going back to Chicago to play a show. This comes out on today is the 20th,
It'll
right?
be on the Friday. This will be on coming Friday. So when is that show?
It's April 28th. We had to cancel. Well, we got canceled from a tour that we were on. We got removed from it for various reasons.
Want to talk about that?
I don't need to talk about it.
I mean, we had Sarah. That's who I really wanted to talk about.
Okay.
We had Sarah here. She talked about it. You can get.
We were on a tour.
We linked a video to you, and in that podcast, we link a video. So
we got invited to be part of a tour, and we were excited about it because we like playing shows and we like meeting people. And if it was about that, it would have been cool. But it became about a lot of other different things, and it just wasn't right. And I have a bit of a hard time like restraining my opinions, especially if it's like injustice. Like I can't stand. There's this bar I used to play in Southern Illinois where they had a big giant TV screen behind me playing SportsCenter while I was trying to give a performance. Yeah, and I was like, "Do you need?
Are you gonna turn it off?
Yeah, can you turn this off?" And the bar got really into it. They were really supportive. I had the whole bar chanting, "Turn it off."
Oh, nice.
Turn it, and the bar refused. So I sang this whole song about how the bar was just totally messed up, and I quit, and I walked off, and this guy from a fraternity house was like, "Hey man, you want to come play in the frat house basement?" And we took the whole crowd to the frat house basement, and we sang a song about this bar, and everyone will remember that.
Nice.
And it felt good because it just wasn't right.
Right.
I wasn't getting paid that much. I was on a stage held up by beer bottles. It wasn't a glamorous gig.
Right.
But at least I didn't have to compete with the TV.
Right.
And so the same kind of thing happened on this tour we were on where it just became about something that was wrong. There were way too many commercials for blah, and it was I couldn't keep my mouth shut about it, and they let me go, which
is better in the long run.
Yeah,
you're playing you're on our podcast now.
Yes, but what was frustrating is that all these people who had bought tickets, who had been excited about, that's why we were out there.
Right.
You know, it was very frustrating. But we're trying to do what we can to make up some of those shows. So we booked a show actually at the same venue in Chicago.
That's hilarious.
So we're playing at Reggie's Rock Club in Chicago on April 28th. It's
go see it.
$8 ticket.
Wheezy Waiter, you better be at that show.
Yeah, Wheezy,
Craig,
I want to see you.
You better be at that show, and you better get all your beard lovers to go fill up the seats and watch Peter.
Whatever. I'll give you guys a link that you can put in there. So if you want to come see it, we're going to play Shaker on the Shaytards live. Me and Dante live on stage.
So who are you going to bring then? Yeah, like
it's just going to be me and Dante. And we do this little set that's based up of rap battles, all the old songs. We're going to play Best Spot in the Lot. We're going to play Shaker on the Shaytards, Superman Socks, and it's fun.
He's great live. This guy is a professional. I just read this book.
Good.
I read this book called Outliers, and it talks about people who are, just obviously way better at everything. And they talk about the Beatles, who in their early days, they got to play in Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah, for like a year.
Yeah,
just
literally
every night.
7 hours. Like they became experts.
That's how you
stage.
get good
That's
at
how you
it.
get.
Yeah.
And Peter's the same way. He's played so much live time, and he's great to see live. So if you guys are in Chicago, April 28th, go check it out. What's the venue called?
It's called Reggie's Rock.
Rock Club. Go get tickets.
April
We'll put a
28th,
link below.
We'll put a link below, and they're gonna sell out, I believe. So
you better hurry up because you're gonna miss out on a great opportunity.
I think the cool thing about performing live,
wait,
for
what
me,
are the tickets? $8?
$8.
I know,
you should charge more than that.
I don't want to, but that's the whole point. Is it like
$8? Is that gonna cover?
That's part of the whole point. Yes,
pay
it's
more
gonna
than $8.
Look, it's gonna cover it, and it's fine. But the point was that we didn't want it to be about, like, obviously this is a business, and like doing these things, it's something that we do for a living, but that's not why you do it first. Yeah. And that's like, if you work really hard, you can make a living at what you're doing. It's
true.
But you should not get into it to make a bunch of money.
Right.
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
when that becomes like the main motivating factor, and I thought that's what happened on the last tour I was at, it was a lot of people selling a lot of different stuff on the side that had nothing to do with us playing music. Yeah. And so that's not. I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a statement.
$8. Go see the freaking show. It's awesome. I wish we could go. I'm gonna be in Nashville on April 28th.
Oh, Nashville's cool too.
Running the Country Music Marathon with Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
You and the running.
I know. It's stupid.
No, it's great.
I'm like dreading it. Like,
I started running a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, it's good for you. It clears your mind.
It does. It's once you get out there, like it can suck and it can hurt, but like once you get into a little bit, you get into like this zone like where you feel like this runner's high, and not everybody has experienced it. But like when you get there, it's cool because you're like thinking about stuff and you can kind of just zone out.
Totally zone out. And it's one of the few places where it's just you and your thoughts, and it's like everything else melts away, and you can just kind of run.
Go running.
Just run.
So here's another thing I want to talk about with the epic rap battles. You had to, you switched it because you started channels, Peter. This is on the Nice Peter YouTube channel. Well, and that's the way YouTube works. Is like, it's not like he planned on this thing blowing up, or
no idea.
You would have started that in the beginning. So, the Nice Peter channel, all of a sudden epic rap battles kind of just takes that over.
It did.
And as a YouTuber, I've found that where it's like, there's expectations for channels. And so the second you start putting something different, people don't like it. And as a creator, you're kind of like, oh, but like I feel like this is what I'm creating for my audience and I want to try different things. Talk about that. Like,
well,
do you feel like you got trapped by epic rap battles?
No, I don't feel like I got trapped. I just feel like something happened, and it's like I don't know, maybe it's like raising a child where like you raise it and you get to a point where it can stand on its own. I've never raised a child, so I don't know. So I'm kind of looking to you for guidance. But like
we don't know either.
We don't either.
This is our first time doing it.
We started this rap battle series, and it became a thing that was more than just me. It really was. And it's not just about, like, I obviously am like a main creative factor to it, but it can stand outside of myself. It's bigger than just me. Right. So I wanted to let it get as big as it could be. And I know that the fan base for the rap battles, it's different necessarily than the fan base for like the songs that I sing about you and your family, Right. And I want both of those groups of people to feel like they have a place to go. Right. So we decided to like end season 1 of the rap battles and start season 2. And when you start season 2, that means we could start season 3. It means we could start season 4, and the rap battles can live on their own. And then me as a musician, as Nice Peter, I can live on I plan on making music the rest of my life, so I might as well have a place to do it.
Right.
Tell me this: how many, like, what do you think as far as like fans go, like, how many epic rap battle are there? Epic rap battle fans that don't even know who Nice Peter is?
Yes. I mean, I think certainly at one point during the season there was.
Like if somebody probably, I know there's people who probably just love epic rap battles of history, but have no idea who you are.
And that's I'm totally fine with that. It's like I realized I was a part of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and I have time for my like solo career later. Yeah. And I also it was somewhere like around like after the Beethoven Bieber video came out. And I played Beethoven, but then I put out another video just to myself, and I saw a lot of comments like, "Who's this guy?" And I was like, "That's so weird."
Yeah.
But I realized just at that moment, I realized it's not something I'm gonna fight. Like,
right. Well, you've created a character. You've created something.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about epic rap battles. I was talking to Lloyd about this the other day, which is probably not something you want to talk about, but he was saying that people are like stealing the rap battles, and you guys are losing like all this money because people are like downloading them and then uploading them on their channels.
Yeah, but it's fine. Like,
but it was shocking to me. This is just a testament. I'm not trying to say like people shouldn't do that. What I'm trying to say is they're evergreen and they're so good. What you create. I think it should be that. It shouldn't be like, oh, that's Nice Peter doing epic rap battles history. Like, that's an epic rap battle history of, Abraham Lincoln, and it's them rap battling, you know what I mean? And that's why I feel like somebody is able to like download those and use them as other content, because it's so evergreen and it's so like anybody could watch it. I
appreciate that. That's exactly what we tried to do. Once we realized that how cool these videos could be, I just decided to take a little bit of a step back from it as far as making it my identity. Right. The rap battles are the rap battles. I make them, but it's not called. Let me think of a good example. I can't, like the guy who invented Bisquick. It's not called like Larry Field's Bisquick.
Yeah, right.
It's called Bisquick.
I want a biscuit now.
And like that's.
Oh, I haven't heard of Bisquick
Larry
in
Field,
a while.
I haven't used Bisquick in any way.
Sponsored by Bisquick. Thanks our sponsors.
I'm just saying
you're such a sellout, Peter. It's like you're trying to sell Bisquick all the time. You know?
I'm just saying you can make something. You can put your name on it. You can put your heart into it, your passion to it. But it doesn't have to be you. It's something. Legos are made by Legos. Yeah. They're made by a company called Lego, and I'm sure there's a guy who invented them and works on them and cares about them every day.
Larry the Lego.
Larry the Lego
he's
guy.
pissed. So Len, then what? This is maybe a sore subject. Then what is going to go on Nice Peter? I noticed in my subscription box, and Nice Peter hasn't popped up in quite a while, and I'm frankly maybe questioning my subscription, Peter.
Here's the thing: is that there's
No,
only
you're not.
there's only so much like I take. Well, I take a lot of passion about anything I'm doing. Even if it's like I make this weekly Monday show, and even that, it's like I spend 8 to 10 hours editing it, putting it together, trying to make sure it's something that is worth watching. So it's like there's only a finite amount of energy you have, and I know that the rap battles are important. They're important to just me. Like we were able to hire a team to help us make them, so I can't really slow down on those.
Yeah.
I have people kind of counting on me.
Right.
How does that talk to me about that? Because it's like there's like a content monster out there that is just hungry. Right, and people want more, and like they want the rap battles. I see them. Like people are like, "When's the rap battle coming?" Like they want that.
I think that's a new thing because of YouTube, because of our ability to hear all that feedback, but because of our ability to read comments and everything. I think it kind of distorts that and puts it out of perspective. Because when Def Leppard would go away for 3 years, people wanted a new Def Leppard album, but no one was writing them letters every day like,
can tell them.
"Where's my Def Leppard album?" And so you don't get that message, but that feeling is actually a good thing. People wanting more of what you're doing, that's actually really exciting. It's been, my friend Mary makes paintings, and she has this channel, Mary Doodles. And, you know, she's been talented her whole life, but it's just been now that people start to recognize, and people are like clamoring for new stuff, and she feels the pressure, and it's hard to explain to someone, no, that's a good thing.
Right.
That means that people want to see more of what you're doing. It's great.
It's this weird thing because it's kind of like this, like, people want to see more of what you're doing, but then it's like you feel like you have to keep creating more of it, and it's hard to, like, what you're saying is like put yourself fully into each project because you're like, I just got to get this done and get it out. I feel like you have to be careful as a YouTuber to not fall into that, like, I just got to get stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to water
down
your creative expression, and I just won't. I can't. It's not. I'd rather make less video. And I tell people who ask for advice, like, how can I start out in YouTube? I'm a musician, whatever. Just work twice as hard on half as many things. I think, like, don't worry so much about you have to do 100 things. Work as hard as you can on something. Put it out, see how people respond to it, learn, and then try again and work twice as hard on another bigger thing. Yeah, and just spend lots of time.
I have a problem with that. Like, I really do.
Well, we make a video every day.
I upload like 6
make them
videos
all
a day.
Excellent.
It's challenging, but the point is, like, you just got to keep caring about the people that are watching what you're doing, and I do, and it almost like. I care so much sometimes that I need to take a step back because I'd rather put out no video than a lousy one.
That's what I'm trying to, like, I guess, talk about is there's this, like, almost like this, you have to decide, like, what's healthy, because those comments are coming in 24 hours a day.
Right.
So it's easy to, like, be constantly on Twitter and Facebook and in the comment section of YouTube and just be reading and reading and reading. And it gets unhealthy, I think, at sometimes.
It does.
Because you're just like, and you start listening. I think they would be surprised at sometimes how much we really, like, read the comments.
Oh, my gosh.
We read
you guys should know.
We read and we care because it there's the double-edged sword of realizing that the people are real, is that they're not just anonymous comments to me. I don't know. They're that's an actual person. I see something. I'm like, I wonder what's wrong. Why? Oh man.
Yeah.
It like,
makes you start thinking more about the hater comments, like, what's wrong?
What's wrong with that person? Yeah.
But at the same time, I realize every day how fortunate I am to even be able to have a problem like that. Like, to be able, like, it's just an excess of attention and energy, and that's a good problem to have.
Absolutely.
And it's just a thing that you need to manage, I guess. I am not the best person.
We're all figuring it out.
I got to a point when I was working on rap battles so hard that I was not what you would call a happy person in my life. My happiness came from my work, and that was okay. But then I needed to take a break, and I got to that point by being a happy person. So I'm gonna take a little break and come back to it. And that's what I do every couple of weeks. Just take 3 days and, like,
chill.
Remember when nothing else mattered except this hamburger?
Right.
I'm going to pretend that's all that matters.
I have these little perspective things where it's like, oh yeah, remember, like, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, we're right again. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for being on the podcast today. Are we?
Yes, thank you.
Are we supposed to wrap it?
I think we're getting there.
Supposed to wrap it in.
We're getting all. I see. The problem with this signal is this means keep going or stop.
What does this
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I feel very good about talking to you both.
It's easy.
It's easy, and I hope we get a chance to do this again sometime.
We are.
We have lots to talk about.
I think that I need to come over and play.
That's
in the
what
band.
we need to do.
Can I be in the band?
Yes,
I don't know,
absolutely.
Peter. Wait, are you sure?
Please be in the band.
Like we should talk.
Here's the thing about
band
bands.
should talk about this.
We can have a band meeting. We can also start a new band.
Maybe you could be like me and Peter and Dante have this thing going. You know, it'd be weird if you.
Well, how about I just start my own band and you guys can be in it?
However, you can hire our band to be your backing band.
There you go.
We are available for studio and gig work.
We can play, and it might take a few.
Just play.
It might take a bit. We got to get her in there though. We need to get you guys working on a song together because she can sing actually.
I need to start working on songs as a whole.
Right.
It's basically like a song pops into your mind when your mind is clear or when your mind is overwhelmed. But when your mind is just busy all the time, there's no room for songs.
You need some more song time.
The best songwriters are 4-year-olds.
Really?
Yeah, because they walk down the street and like, I'm holding a butterfly. And
It's so true. Baby Tard does that all day long.
And that's a song right there. I'm holding a butterfly and I want some peanut butter. Like that's the most pure essence of that feeling at that moment.
And you're good at that too. That's one thing
I just
that you
harness my inner 4-year-old.
I think that you and Baby Tard should hang out because she starts singing the most random songs.
get
that
Peter
are
and Baby
so
Tard
cute.
laying down a track.
Yep, absolutely. But you just got to harness the Baby Tard. If you're trying to write a song and you're out there, just harness the 4-year-old Baby Tard inside of you and sing like, this glass of water tastes like plastic.
All right, so be a 4-year-old. Go out, write a song. Check out Peter on YouTube. If you don't know who he is, where you been, suckers?
I think the coolest thing for this audience to check out would be the Nice Peter 2 channel where I do the Monday show. It's the Nice Peter channel has been a little quiet lately, but every week I make this Monday show where we just talk.
And he gets a ton of. You have this great collage on your wall of pictures and like stuff that his viewers have sent him. Cool stuff. I've been lucky enough to be in there and like it's one of those walls where you could just stand in front of for like hours and
People
be like,
send in some beautiful things.
Whoa! And then this is a poem and like all the pictures and stuff.
That's one of the things that like reminds me that I'm doing something that's right because it's inspiring other people to express themselves creatively.
If you were male, if you were male. I love that part. And you pull out who knows who's Nice Peter 2 fans out there, right? And he pulls out the little bird out of the P.O. box. That's great. I love that's my favorite.
Thank you. Check
it out. Nice Peter, Epic Rap Battles of History. April 28th, Chicago. $8 for a ticket. Go check it out. And thanks for being on the podcast here at Maker Studios.
Oh, that's me.
Wait, who is it?
It says, pick up the kids and play with them. It's my alarm.
You have a pick up the kids and play with them alarm?
We'd forget them if we didn't.
Because they get out of school at a certain time. And sometimes if I don't set myself an alarm, I forget.
But here's the alarm is to, go get the kids from school.
But I always say pick up the kids.
She writes in there extra just so she can be a better mom. Play with them. To remind herself that she
don't
doesn't
just pick
need to
them
be
up
so
and drop them off at home.
Right.
Tell them to do their homework.
Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on the podcast here in Los Angeles, California at Maker Studios. Nice Peter in the studio.
Yes, check him out.
Thanks, everybody.
Shay, this podcast would not be complete if you don't speak into my
Oh, I got it. Peter, I'm sorry. Thanks, Roth. Great. There's this little
I'm
segment I
ready.
gotta do. Hi, everybody. This is the Shay Talks into Mommy Tards. See, when there's not a guest here, it's cool because I can slide over here.
He usually dives
smell her.
across the room.
I like to smell her and talk to her
and
microphone.
gets right in my
It's one of my
microphone.
favorite segments of our whole show.
But I think I like it better that you walk around because sometimes you hit me in the head with your head on your dive
that's
over.
a wrap for the podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Kids are counting
Hey, we're still singing here. The
when
music's
kids
going.
go to
I'll just
sleep.
finish the podcast.
Dreams and
Bye, guys.
memories. When the kids go to sleep.
And the kids go to sleep. Good job.